How's it going, guys? My name is Tim. I'm a photographer based out in Seattle, and currently I'm living out my 4Runner. And in today's video, what I wanted to talk about is this Iceco APL35 fridge. When deciding to move into my 4Runner, I needed to decide some of my needs. So there's not a lot of real estate in the 4Runner. Choosing the type of gear to put in it was really important to me. And so one of those gear is having a fridge. I love to cook, especially at camp, and having a reliable fridge to take along with me while I'm living on my 4Runner is very important. So like I said, this is the brand new Iceco APL35. I'll get to it in a little bit on why I chose this fridge out of all other fridges, but here's some specs about it. So it's a dual zone fridge, so I have a refrigerator on one side and a freezer on the other side. It comes in about 32 pounds. The temperature ranges from -4 degrees to 68 degrees. It measures at about 27 by 14.4 and 15.7. It's pretty obvious on by the material you're seeing here, but it is made of all aluminum, and that is on the outside as well as on the inside. So why the Iceco APL35? One of the main reasons for me is the size and weight. So this fits perfectly in the back of my 4Runner, and it sits on a slider. While living out my 4Runner, I'm not always sleeping out in my rooftop tent. Sometimes I sleep in the car as well. And so sits perfectly in between where I have my mattress, and the weight matters. So the more weight I add, the less mileage you'll get. I mean, this isn't going to do too much having refrigerator and all that stuff inside. Trying to cut weight where you can is actually really important to me as well. So I don't need a fridge any larger than this. I used to have a smaller fridge, and that fit everything that I needed. It's not a huge fridge, but I don't think I need anything bigger than this. Speaking of the interior, it is a dual zone fridge. So having a dual zone fridge opens a lot of dishes that you can cook at camp. For me, I love to make noodles, and having like frozen meatballs or like dumplings and stuff to cook while at camp can sit in the freezer, while all the stuff like the vegetables can be in the refrigerator side. Also, when it comes to storing meat and everything, if I can't get to a campsite quick enough to cook all of the meat, I can always store it in the freezers. So that is also how I use the refrigerator and the freezer combo. One of the struggles I have is buying meat in bulk, and so I don't always get the chance to cook it all. Like I said, having it to be in the freezer is a very nice feature. It's also interchangeable too. So the larger side, which sits at 27 quarts, and then the smaller side is at 8, and you can change them too. So you can have the entire fridge be a refrigerator, or you can have this whole thing be a freezer. I like to have the big side be a refrigerator because I tend to store more. I feel like a lot of people do as well, and the smaller side as the freezer. But I mean, if you're, for an example, going like fishing or something and you're far away from home, you can have the entire thing be a freezer. I mentioned this a little earlier, but I do sleep inside my 4Runner as well. And having something like this that as quiet as it is a very nice thing, because sometimes I'm sleeping off the side of the highway at like a rest stop or something. And so having as little noise as I can possible really does help, especially being inside the 4Runner. This is a very, very quiet fridge. APL35 has a nano compressor that I believe is imported from Germany, and it's the smallest and lightest in its class. It also results in a very efficient and produces low noise. The other features I do like about the APL35 are the latches. So these latches right here are well designed, and they're actually really satisfied to open and close. Speaking of opening and closing, it has a lid stay design. So the lid stays open without having to hold it in place. At a certain point, it stays wherever you leave it. I constantly open and close the fridge, so having it stay open while I grab things out of it is a very nice feature as well. I like that there's an app and it is Bluetooth. Being able to adjust the fridge while you're driving or while I'm up in my tent, it's actually very nice. And it comes in handy too. So I've had issues in the past where I'm driving along some of these roads that are super rocky. The fridge will sometimes unplug itself, and normally I'll only find out when I'm at camp. So having the app to check the temperature, or even if it's being connected, is very useful to me. Some of the other things to talk about this fridge too is the pricing, and is this fridge worth it? So the APL35 comes in at $599, and the price honestly goes up from there if you want to add other things to it. Like in my case, I added a slider, but you can get a cover from this, and I think by the time you're watching this, the cover is already out. But yeah, I mean, you can get the cover for it. I think it will protect the outside of it from like scratches and everything, as well as help insulate the fridge. But honestly, with the design and the compressor it has, I don't think you'll have an issue with keeping the inside cold or being efficient. This might be a biased opinion, but I think having the slider with it is a must. So depending on your kind of setup, you'll probably want a slider for a fridge anyways. Compared to other fridges out there on the market that has all the specs and the same size, I think this fridge is well worth it. It's definitely not the most expensive 35-liter fridge out there. I like having gear that I don't need to replace often or need to upgrade. So the APL35 is the perfect weight, it's the perfect size, it's dual zone. It looks great with the brushed aluminum. It's functional as well. It checks all the boxes that I need in a fridge, and for somebody that lives out of their 4Runner or lives out of their vehicle, this is probably the best you'll get unless you need something a little bigger. And Iceco makes bigger fridges than this, so it's not like they only make the size of a fridge. You can get something smaller or something bigger as well. So I said a whole lot of good things about the APL35. Are there any bad things about it? And I've had the fridge for about a month now, and I can't name a single bad thing that I have about the fridge. The only cons that I have is very nitpicky and has honestly nothing to do with the fridge. It's actually the slider. The slider is a universal fit other size of fridges from Iceco. It doesn't quite fit the APL35, so there's a lot of room when you're going off-roading. It does move a lot. It does come with some straps that you can strap it down. Just due to my setup, I have a water jug right next to it and it constantly just hits the fridge in itself. Like I said, it has nothing to do with the fridge. It's actually just a personal problem. But that was really the only con that I have, is just the slider doesn't quite fit the fridge. As perfect as a fridge can get, depending on the style of fridge you like. Some people like the door, some people like this one where it's like a lid where you can open it from the top. But yeah, it's honestly at this point personal preference of what you want in a fridge freezer combo. Also, Iceco makes a ton of other fridges and other models as well, so maybe if the APL35 doesn't fit your needs, you can always go up a size or go down a size or somewhere in between. I guess another nitpicky thing is I wish the lid can open up on both sides. I know Iceco makes another fridge, I forgot what the series is called, but the way my setup is the fridge is right behind this bag and I have drawer systems in here, so in order for me to get to the fridge, I can only access it from one side. It would have been nice to open up on both sides. Honestly, it's not even a inconvenience, it's just a nice to have feature. But overall, it's a great fridge. I don't think I will be upgrading a fridge anytime soon. Actually, probably for a while. It's the perfect size and it is the perfect dimension interior as well. So it's also dual zone. So if I were to ever upgrade, I think I might get something a little bigger. It depends, I guess, on the use cases. But as for somebody that lives out of their vehicle, this is the perfect size. And if you are planning on doing the same, I would go with the APL35. I don't think you'll need anything bigger than that unless you really need to. But yeah, I mean, in my opinion, I think the fridge is very well worth it, with being it's priced. It's not the cheapest fridge out there. It's also not the most expensive. It comes with everything that you'll need to have a fridge in camp, or if you're not even camping, this is, if you do like van life or anything, this is a perfect fridge to keep inside as well. But yeah, that will wrap it up. I have a link below if you guys ever want to use it or check out the APL35, or honestly anything from Iceco. I have a link below that will give you 12% off. So yeah, thanks for watching. Stay tuned for other videos as well. I am, like I said, living out my 4Runner and I drive around all throughout the United States visiting national parks and doing photography. So if you're interested in that, check out the other videos. I'll link them either above or below. All right, take care guys.